gonna show you 4 nights of family meals. These are 4 dinners that I fed my family. One for the crock pot, one that came together super fast, one that is something new we wanted to try, and one that is a family favorite. So something slow, something fast, something new, and something tried and true. Tonight, we are going to be at our oldest child's marching band performance. So I am going to get some meatballs going in the crock pot. I thought I had ordered the bigger bag of meatballs. This one's only 18 ounces. I would definitely use the bigger bag that's like 26 or 28 ounces, or maybe 2 of these if you're making this for your family. I'm going to have 2 children who are absent from dinner tonight, so this is still gonna be plenty for the 3 of us that are left. This is for a honey buffalo meatball, and the inspiration is coming from a website called Carlsbad Cravings. I'll leave it linked in the description box below. I'm gonna go ahead and make the same amount of sauce, even though I have less meatballs than I'd like to have. They'll just be really saucy. So I'm grabbing some Frank's Red Hot buffalo sauce, of course, some honey, brown sugar, and some cornstarch. From the fridge, I'm getting some apricot preserves and also some soy sauce. I already have a 1/4 cup of brown sugar here in my little bowl, and I'm actually going to use my scale to measure out the apricot preserves because I need a 1/4 cup, and it says 1 tablespoon is 19 grams, or about 20 grams, and there are 4 tablespoons in a 1/4 cup. So I'll need about 80 grams of this apricot preserves. Pretty darn close, that's 78. 80, haha, right on the money. I also need a 1/4 cup plus 1 tablespoon of honey, which honestly is about all I have left in this little honey bear, so I'm just gonna use the rest of it. I'm not even gonna measure it. 1½ tablespoons of cornstarch, and then 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. I'm just gonna whisk this all together, and then I'm gonna pour it over my meatballs in the slow cooker. And since the meatballs are fully cooked, we're just wanting this to heat through and simmer with the meatballs. So probably 2 to 3 hours on high, but I'm gonna get it going on low because we're right about lunchtime right now. You guys, I'm such an idiot. I forgot the buffalo sauce, a 1/4 cup of it. I'm just gonna go ahead and throw it in the crock pot. Listen, a professional would just have to start all over again. I'm just a regular person in her kitchen trying to make meals, so we're just gonna make it work, okay? 1/4 cup of buffalo sauce going in the crock pot now. I'm going to utilize one of my other slow cookers to cook one of the sides to go along with these meatballs. I'm actually gonna cook our corn on the cob in the crock pot. I have done this before by shucking the corn and then wrapping each individual ear in foil, but today I'm actually just, after I clean the corn, put them into the slow cooker with about a cup or so of water on the bottom, just enough to cover the bottom of my crock pot, and I'm gonna cook those on high for about 3 hours. Here is dinner tonight. I just finished it off with a little side salad there, and I have to say I've already tried the meatballs, and I thought that they would be a little spicy, but they're actually just right for me. They're definitely a little more on the sweet side because of the honey and the brown sugar, so that kind of broke through the saltiness of the soy sauce and the spiciness of the buffalo sauce really well, I think. So definitely a keeper for me. Okay, I have to say the corn is actually tastier than when I make it on the stove or the last several times I've made it in the crock pot. So definitely that method, like steaming it in the crock pot with the water on the bottom, is the best. Could also be that I just got really good corn because it's the end of summer. That's when it's in season here. I'm gonna show you what we had for dinner last night. I actually set the timer while I was making this so I could show you just how quickly it came together. This is for a creamy sun-dried tomato ravioli. I will leave the recipe that inspired me linked in the description box below, but here are the ingredients that I'm using to make this. I'm using a fresh ravioli. It's an Italian sausage ravioli. You could use a different kind if you want to, but I chose to use the fresh because they cook really quickly. So here we go. I've got the timer started, and the first thing I'm gonna do is get some water boiling on the stove to cook the pasta. I find that I really like cooking pasta in this big rondo. It's a shallower pot. It's still a big pot, but it has a wider cooking surface so that the water can come up to temperature and we can get that pasta cooking quicker. I'm also doing a vinegar rinse with my romaine hearts so that we can have some really simple salads. And now to my pot, I'm adding 2 tablespoons of butter, and while that is melting over medium-low heat, I'm gonna chop up my garlic and my sun-dried tomatoes. I'm using 3 or 4 cloves of garlic. You can use more or less depending on your taste. And then I had half of this jar of sun-dried tomatoes left from another recipe recipe, which you will have already seen. So I'm giving those a rough chop because I want little pieces so that they're more evenly distributed into the sauce and across the pasta. My butter is melted now, so I'm adding my sun-dried tomatoes and my minced garlic to the pot, along with about a teaspoon of Italian seasoning. I'm gonna give those a stir, and I want them to simmer over medium-low heat just until they start to get fragrant. And here is where we stand with the time now. So a couple minutes later, my garlic and my sun-dried tomatoes are simmering nicely. They're getting flavorful. They smell so good. I'm gonna add 1 tablespoon of this Dijon mustard and then 1 cup of half and half. I'm gonna stir this all together over medium heat. I wanna be very careful not to burn this. It's really easy to burn sauces with dairy in them. So while that is coming up to temperature and I'm keeping a close eye on it, I'm gonna give my baby spinach about 2 cups. I had about half that container left, so that's what I used. I'm giving that a rough chop. In the meantime, my water has come to a boil, so I'm going to add my raviolis and get those cooking. It only takes about 2 to 3 minutes, but I wanted to time this right so that the sauce was almost done because I'm gonna need some of that starchy pasta water. So here's where we stand time-wise. And now I'm gonna add my chopped baby spinach and 1 cup of grated Parmesan cheese into my sauce. I'm gonna just keep stirring that over low heat till the cheese is melty and the spinach starts to wilt. Before I drain my pasta, I want to add about half a cup, a ladleful or so, of the starchy pasta water to the pot. And then while that sauce is finishing up, heating through, I'm going to give my romaine a rough chop and toss it into the salad spinner so that I can put together some really easy, simple side salads to go along with this dish. My sauce has heated through a couple minutes, so now I'm ready to gently add my pasta back in. I find these fresh pastas are really very fragile, so you have to be careful when you stir them in. Here's my little salad, and now my pasta is ready to put on my plate. Here's where we are time-wise. It took me a little over 20 minutes to make this meal. You might be able to do it a little quicker if you're not moving a camera around the kitchen like I was. But this was very, very tasty. The ravioli was so flavorful. Everybody really liked it. My only complaint is that the sauce was just a little bit runny, so I probably add a little bit less of that pasta water next time, but it was still really great, and we ate the leftovers the next day. My husband and I were just talking about the many little tasks that he and I have completed over the past few weeks to prepare our 3 children for another school year. Things like track down oddly specific school supplies, try on 16 different pairs of uniform pants to find one that fits, order new tennis shoes, return them, order a different size, return them again, order a different size, stand in the store aisle for 20 minutes while my 11-year-old weighs the pros and cons of every single lunchbox they have in stock. It can be exhausting, but it's just what we parents do, right? And it's all worth it when we send those little darlings off for that first blessed day of school. And it's not just the stuff kids need to start another school year. If you're a parent, you understand. Our kids depend on us for everything. And one of the most important ways that we can care for our kids is by making sure we have a quality term life insurance policy for us, the parents. I know none of us like to think about our kids having to live without us, but we can take steps to secure their financial future in case the unthinkable happens. Fabric by Gerber Life is term life insurance you can get done right here, right now. You could be covered right from your couch in under 10 minutes with no health exam required. And it's all done online, so you can do it on your own time from the comfort of your own home while you sit back and bask in a gloriously quiet house. Plus, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee, and you can cancel at any time. So it's no wonder that they have over 1,900 5-star ratings on Trustpilot. And Fabric offers other things too, like free digital wills and investment accounts for your kids' futures that you can manage right from your own phone. Join the thousands of parents that trust Fabric to help protect their families. Apply today in just minutes at meetfabric.com/cmindymom. Again, that's meetfabric.com/cmindymom, MEET, fabric.com/cmindymom. And thank you again to Fabric by Gerber Life for sponsoring today's video. Tonight, I am throwing together a super easy skillet meal with ground beef, sort of like a homemade Hamburger Helper. Really easy, really tasty. Let me show you what you need to make it. This recipe starts with a pound of ground beef. I have 90-10. You can use 80-20, 85-15. You could use ground turkey if you wanted instead. It's really versatile. 1 cup of white rice. This is basmati rice. 1 can of beans. I normally use pinto beans, but I'm out. So we're gonna make do with Great Northern beans. 2 cups of beef broth. I'm just gonna make mine from Better Than Bouillon. 1 can of diced tomatoes with green chilies. or you could use about a cup of salsa. If you are using salsa though, you probably won't want to use as much or any taco seasoning because salsa is pretty flavorful on its own. I would normally use half an onion. This one's pretty small, so I'm probably just gonna chop this whole onion and also mince a few cloves of garlic, but you can leave that out if you want. I'm gonna use about 2 tablespoons of tomato paste, and then in the end, we're gonna hit it with about 2 cups or 8 ounces of shredded cheddar cheese. I just got a new pan that I ordered from Amazon. It's from Caraway. I really wanted a deep skillet that was non-stick and that also had a handle, so I'm trying this one out tonight. I have my pound of ground beef in here with my onion. I used my rotary chopper to chop that up and threw that in here, so it's browning all together. It's almost done browning, so I'm gonna go ahead and press my garlic cloves in now. So far I like this pan, but I do not like this new garlic press that I got. It's so hard to use. I give up. I'm just gonna use a fork. Ugh, this thing is terrible. Maybe I'm just not using it right. Now it slides. Somebody is getting a big chunk of garlic in there. Since this has rendered a lot of nice fat, I'm gonna go ahead and brown my rice with it as well. It should just take another minute or so for the meat to finish cooking and for these ingredients to brown together. Okay, we just had a major YouTuber fail. I forgot to turn the camera back on, but in here, after my beef was done browning with the rice and the garlic and the onion, I added my can of diced tomatoes with green chilies, my can of Great Northern beans, 2 tablespoons of tomato paste, a couple teaspoons of taco seasoning, and then 2 cups of beef broth. So I just put in 2 tablespoons of this better than bouillon, and then I heated up some water in my kettle, so I added 2 cups of water. So just pretend like you just saw me do all of that. Just take my word for it. That's what happened. And now I'm just giving this a gentle stir. I'm gonna bring it back up to a simmer. I'm gonna turn the heat down to low and put the lid on and let it cook for 10 minutes. Simmer for 10 minutes on low. And then I'm gonna turn the heat off, turn the stove completely off. If you have an electric stove, you'd probably want to remove it from that burner too, but I'm gonna leave the lid on for an additional 10 minutes. So simmer for 10 minutes, take it off the heat, but leave the lid on for another 10 minutes. My mom made this dish growing up so much. She's actually the one who named it. She calls it Ranch House Surprise. So I grew up eating this a lot. It was a very inexpensive, easy meal to make. I grew up in a large family, a family of 7, so it's something my mom made a lot. It was something that I knew how to make when I got married. So I bet that I made this dish probably at least once a week during the first couple of years that my husband and I were married. Guess what we're having tonight? Guess what I'm making?
Something with ground beef.
Yes, that's correct.
Something with cheese.
Yes, because you see it on the counter.
I'm excited about the cheese.
What's our greatest hit, tried and true, longtime family favorite meal?
Ranch House Surprise.
Yes!
Yeah, heck yeah.
You got it. First guess.
We're having Ranch House Surprise?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, this way of cooking rice dishes like this, skillet rice dishes, comes out perfect every time. It cooks it perfectly. Now all I have to do is stir in my shredded cheese and it will be ready to serve up. This dish stands on its own, but you can also put it in tortillas. We usually eat it with tortilla chips or corn chips like a dip. I'm telling you, it's fantastic. So good. Tonight we are trying something new on the grill. These garlic parmesan chicken skewers. I found this recipe via Pinterest from Bad Batch Baking. I will leave the original linked in the description box below, but I'll show you how I'm making these work for us because we're gonna make them on the grill, and I think the original is for the air fryer. I already got my chicken tenders marinating earlier this morning so that they can marinate most of the day before we throw them on the grill. I used 2 pounds of chicken tenders. I drizzled about a 1/4 cup of olive oil over the top, and then I used 3 teaspoons of paprika, 2 teaspoons each of onion powder, garlic powder, and 1 teaspoon of salt and some cracked black pepper. I just poured that over the top of the chicken after I drizzled the olive oil on it, and I kind of massaged it in to make sure it was evenly coated. Pop the lid on that, and they are in the refrigerator now. To go along with this, I'm thinking some kind of pasta salad, so I'm getting some water boiling on the stove. And I'm gonna cook up about 8 ounces of this bow tie pasta. And then I also have a few ears of corn on the cob left over from the other night. So I'm gonna get that out and I'm gonna cut that off the cob. I'll toss the corn and the pasta in a bowl, and I think I'll keep the dressing really simple. I'll just drizzle it with a little oil, some lime juice, salt and pepper, some cilantro. I'm gonna pop that in the fridge, and then I've got an idea for some stuff to add to it later when we're ready to serve it up. My chicken has been in the fridge for 9 or 10 hours. I got it in the fridge this morning, so I just took it out and I'm just putting it onto these bamboo skewers here. I did soak my skewers for about 30 minutes or so. I think that's what you're supposed to do. And I think I'm gonna put 2 or 3 chicken tenders on each skewer. And I'm just trying to kind of bend it backwards and skewer it 3 times at least per each chicken tender. And then my husband is going to get these on the grill, and when he puts them on the grill, he's gonna baste them with a garlic Parmesan sauce. So let me show you what's in that. The garlic Parmesan butter sauce calls for a stick of butter, 8 to 10 cloves of garlic minced, half a cup of Parmesan cheese, the grated kind. I'm gonna use the shaky can kind. A tablespoon of hot sauce, I'll probably use a little bit less. 2 teaspoons of red pepper flakes, I'll probably use a little bit less, even though we do like it kicked, that seems like a lot. And then 1/3 of a cup of fresh parsley. I'm actually gonna divide all of those ingredients in half and make 2 separate bowls of this Parmesan butter sauce because I wanna use some of it for basting the chicken while it's cooking on the grill. And then I wanna use a completely separate amount that has not touched that basting brush to sort of drizzle over the top of the chicken skewers when they're done cooking. So I have the red bowl for the grill because the grill is hot. So I'll heat this up in the microwave and we'll use it to baste while they're on the grill. And then the white bowl I will heat up in the microwave when they come off the grill, and I'll pour that over the top of the already cooked chicken tenders. I had 1 little romaine heart left in my crisper that I wanted to use up, plus 1 red bell pepper. So I washed those and chopped them up, and now I'm hitting this with just a little bit more olive oil, lime juice, salt, and pepper, and tossing this all together before I finish it off with some crumbled bacon and some cotija cheese. I think that'll be really, really good. I guess it's sort of a clean out the fridge pasta salad with all of the random veggies I was trying to use up here. For more easy family dinner inspiration, check out this video right here, or YouTube thinks you might want to watch this one next.